Joining us now, Patrice Onwuka. She is Senior Policy Analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, and it is great to have you with us. Patrice, help us out here.
Thank you.
We're watching the Republicans undercut the president on tariffs and the national security issue, this national emergency that we're in, as we're watching an influx of illegal immigrants that we haven't experienced in over 13 years. Your reaction about which is a greater problem? The rhino senators in the Senate or the radical Dems in the House and the Senate?
Well, I would say the latter first. I think Democrats have stalled at every effort, any attempt to try to reconcile or deal with the crisis at the border. When it was advantageous to talk about separating children from their families, they gave it full attention. Now that you actually have, over 144,000 people crossing illegally and being captured, no one seems to care. Nor do they care about the children who are being rented. Used as family units and then shipped back to Mexico to bring another group here illegally. So now when it comes to conservatives and Republicans in the Senate, I do hope they take seriously our national sovereignty, our national interest, and securing our border.
Yeah.
I do understand the economic impact of a good trade deal with Mexico, but I also recognize that, what is good trade if we also don't have a secure border?
It's unbelievable that the calculus is not so obvious to everyone, whether a Democrat, Independent, or a Republican. And the Democrats, I can't even imagine what they're going to run on in 2020. And I'm absolutely serious. Let's show some pictures. I mean, we're talking about 50,000 homeless in Los Angeles, a 12% increase. Do we have pictures of these homeless who are on the streets of L.A. And for whom the local officials and local government are doing nothing? It goes on and on. We're looking at every kind of disease.
Yes.
These poor people are living in squalor in the number 2 city in America. Your thoughts about and these cities, city after city, facing these issues, they're all run by Democrats.
Well, it's stunning, number one. I mean, we're talking about medieval diseases coming back into prominence. Tuberculosis, typhoid, outbreak of typhus last year. And you have rodent infestations running from syringes and needles. I mean, in the streets, it's unacceptable. But you talked about it, and interestingly, you've got Democrats who are in charge, and their idea has been to throw money at homelessness. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't work when the primary problem for a number of people who are on the streets is either drug problems or mental illness. You can put them in temporary housing and shelters, but either they don't want to stay there for their security, or they're not going to be able to maintain an affordable housing unit. So, Democrats talk about more money for the problems. No, let's talk about the underlying issues around mental illness, the instability, the drug problems. And then let's talk about why it's so expensive to live and to work in California. Well, overtime regulations, mandated paid leave, increased minimum wage hitting $15 an hour.
And by the way, illegal immigrants are overwhelming the state and its services, hospitals, medical care. The schools are being overwhelmed. None of it is a prospect for a bright future for the state of California and its citizens, unfortunately. Patrice, great to see you, and thanks for being here. Come back soon, would you?
I will.
Patrice.